Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are cracking open a pretty comprehensive guide all about sexual stamina.
Hmm.
Now, when most people hear that, they probably just think about, how long things last.
Right, just duration.
Yeah, but our sources define it much more broadly. We're talking about the whole picture, physical, emotional, even hormonal energy needed to actually enjoy intimacy without just, well, running out of steam.
That's a really key point. So yeah, our mission today is basically to unpack a full playbook. We're looking at the facts from exercise science, nutrition, hormone stuff.
Right.
It's not just quick tips. This is a proper deep dive into how optimizing your whole body really translates into, sustained intimacy.
And the research gets straight to it. Like, before we even get into specific exercises, there's this immediate kind of fascinating reality check. It links fitness level directly to performance.
Yeah.
The data suggests that regular exercisers,
Yeah.
the sources kind of affectionately call them gym freak guys, they can last a staggering twice as long as someone with a sedentary lifestyle.
Wow, twice as long. That's significant.
It is. And what really stood out to me was how specific it gets with cardio fitness.
Oh yeah, like what?
They found that people who cycle or jog consistently, like 40 minutes a day,
Okay.
they average 5 minutes and 30 seconds during consummation.
5.5 minutes average. That's incredibly precise.
Exactly. It really hammers home that link between heart health and endurance, doesn't it? It tells you, look, if you want lasting power, you almost need to treat intimate health like training for something. It's about efficient oxygen.
It really is. Endurance, fundamentally, it's about cardiovascular output, yeah, and managing fatigue. But, okay, before we all jump on a treadmill, we kind of need to start at the literal physical foundation.
Right.
If we're talking control, stability,
Hmm.
we have to look at the core, and specifically the pelvic floor.
Okay, let's unpack that then. If exercise is the secret weapon and the core is the base, where do we start? What's the first step?
Well, the pelvic floor muscles are just essential. They handle erectile function. They're the main way you control ejaculation, and they provide the stability you need for posture and power during intercourse.
So if that foundation's weak,
Stamina suffers
yeah.
immediately. It's that fundamental.
Okay, so we're talking Kegels, the unsung hero of intimate fitness, maybe.
Definitely.
We know they work, but tell us why they're so crucial and, maybe more practically, how someone listening can actually do them properly without it feeling like some complicated workout routine.
Sure. So locating them first. Remember, they're the muscles you'd use to stop urination mid-flow. You know the ones.
Got it.
The key is consistency. You need to tighten that internal muscle group, hold it for maybe 3 to 5 seconds, then fully release.
Okay.
And repeat that, say, 10 to 15 times, aim for 3 times a day. And honestly, the consistency is the hardest part. It's not like lifting weights where you feel a big burn.
Right. It's subtle.
Very subtle, but you will feel the difference in control over time.
And the benefits, they're not just for men,
Yeah.
right? It's across the board.
Absolutely. For men, yes, improved erectile function, better ejaculation control, crucial stuff. But for everyone, it means increased blood flow to the groin, which enhances sensitivity. And for women, it also helps with vaginal tone, which can increase pleasure for both partners.
So it's probably the highest leverage, like 5 minutes you could spend daily.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, moving outwards from just the pelvic floor, we need overall power and endurance. That means compound movements. Think about the physical demands.
You need hips, glutes,
Exactly, for thrusting power, for stability.
which brings us to things like hip bridges or maybe the weighted hip thrusts if you're in the gym.
Precisely. You're driving through your heels, lifting your hips up till your thighs are kind of parallel to the floor, really targets the glutes and hips.
Okay.
These are the big power drivers during intimacy. Strengthening them means they don't fatigue quickly, which allows for, well, sustained activity.
Makes sense. Now, if we're talking strength and hormonal support, we probably can't skip the big one, the exercise that hits almost everything, the barbell deadlift.
Ah, deadlifts. Yeah, they're crucial. The sources point them out for, like, 2 main connected reasons.
Okay.
First, obviously, they build incredible stabilizing strength. Back, lower body. This supports your posture and endurance during, sustained performance, sometimes in awkward positions.
Right.
But maybe more importantly, heavy compound lifting, the kind that uses your biggest muscle groups. It's like a natural signal to your body. It tells it to boost key hormones, including testosterone.
Ah, okay. So you're not just getting stronger, you're actually triggering a hormonal response.
Exactly. You're essentially telling your body, hey, I need more testosterone, more growth hormone to handle this load, and that directly benefits sexual health, libido, energy, overall stamina.
Interesting. But the sources also seem pretty clear that the, quote, biggest secret for lasting longer isn't just about that raw power. It's control localized endurance,
Yeah.
which points to the midsection, right?
Yes, absolutely. We need planks, crunches, maybe Russian twists. Leg raises a good balanced core routine.
Why the core specifically?
Well, partly a strong core just prevents general exhaustion during intimacy. You fatigue slower overall.
Okay.
But even more critically, a strong core supports much better pelvic control. And that control is the physical mechanism you actually use to delay climax. If your abs and lower back are giving out, your ability to manage that pelvic tension just disappears.
You're right. Control goes out the window.
Exactly. So if we look at this whole first section, the takeaway really is be consistent with a well-rounded strength routine. It builds stability, power, and maybe most importantly, it actually improves your underlying hormone regulation.
And that hormonal piece is the perfect bridge, isn't it, to section 2?
It really is. We just talked about boosting testosterone through exercise, that physical stress. But that boost, it can be fragile. And this is where it gets, well, really interesting. Because all that performance you optimized in the gym, it can be totally undermined by what you eat, how you live day to day.
Okay, let's start with fuel, then diet. What's the immediate hit from eating badly right before,
Yeah, there are immediate and long-term effects. Immediately. A heavy, greasy, high-sugar meal before intimacy is basically a guarantee for sluggishness, fatigue.
Why is that?
Your body's just diverting massive amounts of energy towards digestion instead of where you want it, circulation, arousal.
Gotcha. And long term?
Long term, you really need to track your habits. Avoid processed foods, stuff that causes inflammation. Chronic inflammation actively messes with your body's ability to produce and use testosterone properly.
So you need clean energy, clear arteries.
Pretty much. Foods that support that.
Which brings us back to the heart again. Seems like you really can't separate cardiovascular health from sexual stamina.
You absolutely cannot. It's probably the most critical link. Blood flow is everything. High blood pressure, low blood pressure, either way. It directly interferes with blood flow to the genital area. That reduces arousal, it reduces stamina. The sources really hammer this home. What's good for your heart, lowering cholesterol, keeping BP healthy, it's fundamentally the same strategy for maximizing sexual endurance.
Okay, but there's this other enemy, the modern kind of invisible one. The source is really stress, cortisol.
Yeah.
Stress. How does that physically impact stamina?
Cortisol, yeah. The main stress hormone. It's basically a direct antagonist to testosterone.
Okay, how so?
Your body's biologically wired, right? If you're stressed, the priority is survival, not reproduction. So high chronic stress just dumps cortisol into your system.
And now?
That suppresses testosterone production. It lowers libido. In men, chronic stress is a really well-documented factor in ED, erectile dysfunction, and also premature ejaculation.
So the advice isn't just chill out. It's about actual mental management techniques.
Exactly. Practical stuff, deep breathing, maybe yoga, journaling, meditation. You kind of have to manage the mental load first. A relaxed mind allows for optimal hormone regulation, and that's the prerequisite for physical endurance.
So if your brain's screaming, emergency!
Your body's not going to commit resources to sustained, intimate performance. Simple as that. The mind-body connection isn't abstract here. It's hormonal. It's circulatory. Very real.
Okay. Now, we also need to cover the don't-do list from the sources. The habits that actively sabotage all the good work we've talked about.
Ah, yes, the big ones, usually the big four. Smoking, drinking too much alcohol, recreational drug use, and poor sleep.
And they don't just hurt general health. They specifically hit stamina.
They specifically weaken it.
Right.
Smoking, for instance, severely damages blood vessels. That cuts down the crucial oxygen supply and blood flow you need for erections and just general endurance.
Okay. Alcohol.
Excess alcohol acts as a nervous system depressant. Plus, it impairs hormonal function.
And poor sleep. We keep coming back to that one.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a massive factor for hormones.
It really is. Your peak testosterone production happens during those deep, uninterrupted sleep cycles. So if you're routinely getting, say, 5 hours instead of 7 or 8,
You're basically kneecapping your T levels.
you are fundamentally crushing your body's ability to make the main hormone needed for stamina and libido. Cutting back or quitting these habits, smoking, excess drinking, prioritizing sleep, it's often the single fastest way to restore oxygen supply and blood flow, allows your body to naturally boost stamina without doing anything else.
And finally, The sources mention natural supplements, but as a supportive measure, right?
Yeah.
Alongside the lifestyle changes.
Exactly. Emphasizes support, definitely not substitutes. Things like ashwagandha, shilajit, safe Mosley get mentioned.
Why those specifically?
They're generally known as adaptogens. They help the body kind of manage stress better, which helps with hormone balance. They also often support blood circulation and can help reduce that feeling of fatigue. But again, the foundation has to be the healthy habits first. You can't supplement your way out of a bad diet and no sleep.
Right. Okay, moving into section 3, let's get specific with food. If performance is really rooted in blood flow and hormones, what are the actual culinary secrets? Beyond just eat healthy, which specific food should people maybe consciously add in, and why do they work?
Yeah, we're looking for functional foods here, ingredients that specifically help optimize blood flow, maybe by promoting nitric oxide,
Okay.
or they support hormone production, like things with zinc, or they just deliver clean, sustained energy.
Let's start with the classic aphrodisiac then.
Yep.
Oysters. Is there actual science behind that or just folklore?
Oh, there's science. Oysters are absolutely loaded with zinc, and zinc is critical for testosterone regulation, sperm health.
Right.
But what often gets missed is they also contain dopamine. That's a neurotransmitter that naturally boosts arousal, elevates mood, makes the whole experience feel better.
Interesting. Okay. How about the humble banana? What makes that a stamina superfood?
Well, they're a great pre-activity snack. Bananas are super high in potassium.
Good for the heart.
Vital for heart health. Blood pressure regulation supports efficient circulation. Plus, they have an enzyme called bromelain. The sources link that one pretty directly to increased libido.
Okay. And what if you like things spicy? Chilies, peppers. Any benefit there?
Definitely could be. Chilies and peppers contain capsaicin.
Right. The stuff that makes them hot.
Exactly. Capsaicin is a vasodilator. It increases metabolism, improves blood flow all through the body. And there's some suggestion in the sources that the endorphin rush and metabolic boost from spicy food might even transiently bump up testosterone levels, contributes to that feeling of readiness, endurance.
Uh-huh. And we can't forget kitchen staples, right? Garlic and onion.
Essential because they stimulate nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is this molecule that relaxes the inner muscles of your blood vessels,
Okay.
causing them to widen. That increases blood flow, which is, paramount for sustained performance. Onion juice, specifically, also gets linked to stimulating endocrine glands that regulate hormones important for stamina.
Wow. Okay. And rounding out the list, nuts. Almonds, walnuts are mentioned. They seem like a complete package.
They really are. You get essential fats, omega-3s, which are great for arteries, circulation. You get zinc for hormone production, vitamin E, a good antioxidant, and crucially, magnesium.
Magnesium's important.
Yeah, it actively helps reduce muscle fatigue and supports overall energy function. So a handful of almonds or walnuts is a pretty solid stamina-boosting snack.
Okay, this has been a ton of great info, but the goal is always action, right? Let's try and tie this all together. Can we map out a sort of manageable, actionable daily routine plan for someone listening?
Let's try. Okay, start the morning strong. That 20 to 30 minutes of cardio or strength training. Get the blood pumping, get the hormones flowing early.
Right. And breakfast?
Breakfast needs to be protein-rich, maybe some testosterone-supporting foods in there. Think eggs, maybe add a banana, a handful of nuts. Sets your energy and hormone schedule right from the start.
Okay. And throughout the day?
Hydration. Cannot stress this enough. Water, water, water. Aim for what? 8 to 10 glasses daily? Dehydration just tanks your energy and blood volume fast.
And caffeine?
Limit it, maybe 1 or 2 cups max. Keep those cortisol levels more stable. Then midday, maybe build in that mental management piece, even just 5 or 10 minutes. Deep breathing, quick meditation, step away from stress. Remember, stress management is stamina management.
Okay. And the evening routine sounds like it's maybe the most critical part.
Arguably, yes. If you choose to use supportive supplements, the evening might be a good time. Allows for overnight absorption. But the absolute #1 non-negotiable thing,
Healy.
7 to 8 hours of quality, uninterrupted sleep.
Why is it so non-negotiable?
Because that's when your body does its peak hormonal repair work. It produces the most testosterone during deep sleep. Stimp on sleep, and it's a guaranteed shortcut to low stamina fatigue. Better sleep equals better, more reliable, intimate health. Period.
Okay, so bringing it all together, what's the timeline look like? If someone starts making these changes, how soon can they expect to see or feel a difference?
Well, the good news is you probably don't have to wait months. The sources suggest improvements maybe in desire, energy levels, even some localized control. You might start noticing that in as little as 2 to 4 weeks if you're consistent with diet and
Say
exercise.
4 weeks. Okay. That's encouraging.
But for the deeper, lasting systemic changes, like really building muscular and cardiovascular endurance, really stabilizing those hormone levels long term, you probably need to commit for more like 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
It just reinforces that holistic idea. Stamina isn't one thing. It's the result of balancing fitness, diet, sleep, mental health. It's a gradual process, but it's rewarding because you're optimizing your total health.
Okay. And as a final thought for everyone listening, something provocative maybe to chew on, the sources make a point of distinguishing between low sexual stamina, which sounds like general fatigue, maybe low desire, poor control.
Right, a broader energy issue. Yeah.
Exactly. And premature ejaculation, or PE, which is more of a specific timing issue, often linked to anxiety or maybe hypersensitivity. They overlap, sure, but they're distinct things.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thought. If we know that getting 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep directly supports hormonal recovery, naturally boosts testosterone,
Yeah.
how much of what you might perceive as just low stamina or poor performance is actually just a completely fixable lack of rest?
Yeah. How much is just chronic sleep debt manifesting that way?
Exactly. Something to think about, maybe starting with your sleep routine tonight. Thanks for diving deep with us.